Thank you to EA for sponsoring this video. In today's video, I'm breaking down different kinds of fights from the new ranked mode and discussing how you can improve all around. We'll get into game sense, micro and macro decision making, how to position yourself in different situations, and of course, elaborate on the timing of abilities. Let's get into it. So in this first clip, we are rotating late, but that's only because we were running into another team and it turned into this hectic third party. So we had to wide wrap. Now, as we're coming down this hill, I can see a team in front of us. At first, I told my teammates not to shoot, but then clearly they start shooting. So I start providing some cover fire because my teammate took a lot of damage. Now, I'm abusing this head glitch very well, but I'm also playing to the strength of the weapons that I have. The Nemesis with a 3x, while it's fully kitted, is perfect for this angle. And I know after my teammate goes down, I'm going to need to continue to provide covering fire because this team will probably continue to fight us and will push up the hill. Now, that's what I want them to do because as you can see here, once they expose themselves, I'm able to get a good amount of damage on the horizon. I'm trying to remain evasive. I'm peeking, then I'm hiding. I'm peeking, then I'm backing up. This angle provides a head glitch for me, but it also creates cover. I throw down a heat shield and I instruct my other teammate to move towards me so that he can pop a revive on him. I'm going to hold because I know how much damage I'm doing here and I trust my better judgment. I'm able to get a knock on the Loba who swung out way too far to the wide right. And from this point, here comes the Horizontal. I know Horizon's going to overextend here because she's going to come out of her queue in the wide open and boom, we take 2 down. I then instruct my other teammate to full court press here because Bloodhound is the last one and he's definitely going to run. However, he does wind up escaping because I don't get too thirsty for it. I realize, all right, if he's going to back off, that's probably the best goal because now we can loot them, we can survive this zone, and we can all push in together and we don't have to worry about a solo at that point. The keys to this fight were understanding that tactically, although this team was in front of us and closer to the circle, we had better positioning because we had high ground and we were able to play on some of these cliffs. This team got too over aggressive here and too attached to the fight. They didn't need to do this, and the fact that they forced this fight, I really wanted to make them pay for it. This is something super important to keep in mind when a team is in front of you in zone and they want to force your hand to fight. Look for that better positioning because the zone will help you. It can also hurt you, but it can really help you in these examples because for every second they're just in this, they're taking health damage. Now, if you're able to deal better damage with your weapons, then obviously you get the point here, but it's key to maintain the better positioning here if you are forced to fight in zone. In the second clip, we had rotated to power grid because we had landed at fight night, but we had also noticed the team went to docks. They had scanned us through the survey beacon. So I was pretty ready for them to walk up, seeing how we were closer to the circle. Now you can see I'm able to get some decent damage on their approach. However, my 2 teammates weren't looking at the time, so we weren't able to capitalize on getting a knock. I then readjust my position to see what their other teammate might do, and I'm able to get great damage on the ballistic, but I get crossfired by this guy's teammate who I never saw. I can see Vantage ADSing with her sniper, so I elect to secure the nearest piece of cover, which is inside and playing a door. I realized because both my teammates backed up behind me and they took some damage that this team may get aggressive. In ranked, players are just going to push. They deal damage, they push. It does make sense at times. However, I catch Vantage out on an island and me and my teammate team fire her. This sneaky positioning allowed me to get this flank and also just surround these players with strength and numbers. Timing is everything here though. I want to emphasize that. Yes, I took a risk by isolating myself on a legend like Lifeline, but I had cover and I had the door, and I also am aware of where my 2 teammates are because if one of these guys stacks on my door, my teammate Cap has a perfect angle to shoot them from his door. So if you are going to play this flanker role, you have to time everything correctly with your 2 teammates so that you're just able to suffocate the enemy team. Now, a few moments later, we could hear fighting in Rift, so we thought we might get pushed from that side. However, another team starts to approach from Fight Night side, and that's where things get a little dicey. My teammate ends up getting a down on one of the players who overextended. So from here, we're trying to assess, do we leave our cover and our high ground position to get this thirst and finish off this team, or do we slow down and try to get the thirst from our high ground? I throw a couple grenades because that's where the Nox player is, and then my teammate pushes out. I look to hold for him because I know one's still in the back. It's the Loba. I get good damage off on her, but unsuspectingly, their third player is actually on our roof, and we didn't know that. At the time though, we thought when this unfolded that it was a third party. So it's important to keep this in mind for hindsight purposes because at this point, I direct my other teammate to come to me so that we can play tighter and closer together. I was hoping that if we just kind of stalled here, that the other 2 would start engaging, but that's obviously not what happened. He asked if we wanted to push them with his Horizon Q on the roof, and I said no because I was worried about the crossfire. Then this guy overextends the Loba, and we're able to take her out. Team firing is key, and that's why I insisted on having him come to me so that we were able to provide something like this if they decided to push. And then we quickly thirst. I look for the third, and he drops just just in time, team fired once again. The biggest mistake players make when a teammate goes down is they play on their own. They separate, they isolate, and it makes it easier on the enemy team. Never do that. As soon as your teammate dies, always think to yourself, how can I get to my teammate, or how can my teammate get to me? Whichever is easier. Whoever has the best position and all the other small things that matter, like legend abilities and such, will come into play. But group up, and this will make it much easier to take out a fight where you may be disadvantaged in. All right, in this third clip, we are in a sweaty endgame zone. There's 5 squads left. We have rotated to the best spot. We try to shoot down this jump tower because it looks like a team is trying to come up and take our height. For some reason, I was not able to place my lifeline package on this roof, which was super annoying at the time because having just an extra little bit of cover up here would have been great. But yeah, we're maintaining this high ground and looking for any sort of free kills that we can get while being up here. The key to getting here was honestly just paying attention to the zone around round 2. I saw that it was going to the backside of Icarus, so I knew somewhere up over here or by that bridge would be where the zone would end. And we ended up here, and this is what literally won us the game. But I don't want to give too much away. As we're looking, I am still trying to provide any sort of presence to the teams outside of this area because I understand that the teams below me or the team below me should have angles on these guys who are trying to rotate in. So you can use the teams next to you to your advantage in certain scenarios like this and get them to kind of gang up on one another, if you will. We were getting bombarded with Bangalore ults and Horizon Qs, but nobody ever tried to really take our height except this one time, but I didn't show the clip because we pushed them off pretty quickly. We had been up here for quite a while. Now, when the zone starts to end, you just have to stay calm and pay attention to your biggest threat. There's often a lot going on around you, but if you are out of sight, out of mind, and you control high ground, you have the best opportunity to win the game. So remaining patient, but remaining aware is key here. Now, 4 squads, 10 people. I look down to my left here and I can see fighting. I call out free kills. Now, they all start to take this evac tower and jump on us. So I slide back, I reload, I reposition, and I'm able to get not only a 1 clip, but we team fire the lifeline. My other teammates took care of the 3rd, and this was really, really good. Now it's a top 3 scenario, and we can look down off this scan. Although we end up missing something here, we look down, I see that there's a revive going off. This guy dies. Last squad, and just being patient. We don't know that it's only a solo. We think it's a 3-man, so we're calculating, trying to see when to drop, and we don't want to drop too early if it is a 3-man. I always tell players, assume it's a full team until you're proven it's not. If you have no reason to believe it's a solo or you're not completely sure it's a solo, don't play it like it's a solo. This is where you let your guard down and other enemy teams can take advantage of that. Now, it was just a solo. Ballistic gets team fired. It's an easy GG. But here's the key, guys. Remain on high ground. Try to look for the best spot in zone well before it actually ever closes to that end game. Get your predictions up, because if you don't start paying attention to zones, it's tougher to get to these positions when the late game eventually comes down to it. Now, what about a game where you don't wind up getting the best positioning? The zone just keeps pulling and pulling, and you have to trudge through the map to get to the best spot, or just to get even in the circle. That's what this game is here. We were constantly having the zone pull further and further away from us, and we had to fight along the way. Now, it's always key to ping what's in front of you, see where the very bare minimum that you can get into with some cover. That's important to establish. So I get to this wall, I see this team sliding down, but I look to my right because there was another team there, and then I see that this team is just pushing. I don't know why, but they certainly are, and this was not a good play for them, because look at our cover and look at their lack of cover. We quickly wiped them. I don't know if they were running from something up the hill, but they could have certainly held down a rock or something, and we probably wouldn't have seen them or left them be. Now, top 7, still a lot of traffic, a lot of people alive, and we have to once again trudge up the hill and figure out what can we play, what is in, and who will let us play there. We see a team on high ground southwest. I don't really want to mess with them. I want to avoid them if I can. They have a charge rifle. At least avoid them till we could get close, but they're really not my priority. At this point, I'm looking for positioning over everything. I'm not focused on killing anyone unless I have to. So I'm pinging things. I'm seeing what's in. Then this Bangalore starts running down, and she does this weird double take, but we end up killing her. She was a solo. Now we're top 5. Top 5 is a breath of fresh air in ranked, whether it's this system or any other system. You are closer to the win. You just have to keep doing what you're doing, and you should secure at least a better placement, if not the win. Now, we see this team working up on our northwest. We have to probably kill them, otherwise they'll shoot us in the back as we rotate up. I hit one for 150. My teammate cracks the other, so we push up to this rock. We sort of eliminate their cover by doing this. One of them frantically queues out. We team fire one of them. The 3rd one gets away, but he's running up to another squad, so he gets killed. And now we're top 4. We push up. I'm pinging to see what's in. We get to this rock. I realize, okay, we're on a slant here. I'd like something with better vision, so I ping this wall up here to see what's good. And yeah, we take this. I instruct my Pathfinder teammate who's taller to play this angle because he has a better head glitch there than I do as a short legend like Lifeline. it's not that good for me. This is better. So now it's the head count. Team in the building, team on high ground, and probably a team low ground in this ravine. I tell my teammates that. I make sure they know exactly what I'm saying and they comprehend it. They're not just listening to me blah, blah, blah. They actually heed the words and they have a good understanding, a good layout of their surroundings. This is crucial for when you get to these moments. Being a good communicator in these moments is key, but also being a great listener is key too. So we try to assess what team deserves our attention the most. It's probably not the team low ground, and the team high ground will probably battle with the team on the building, but we have a better vantage point on the building. So what if we shift to the right here and play this slant up this hill and use that as a head glitch and put pressure on the backside of this building? Well, that's what we end up doing. So shifting over to this ramp puts us closer to the end game zone. This team has no door, so getting some free shots on them is huge. I throw a frag in, pop a cell. My teammate does get fried, so I run over to him, I drop my drone, and I hold. No reason this team in the building should push out, plus the team south would punish them for it most likely. However, these little bits of cover on my south are important here because they can buy us some space to block the team south while we put pressure on this team in the building. Now, a heady body shot on the catalyst was key, and that allowed me to push up and get closer. We don't have to full on int inside here. We just have to pressure them because the zone will push them out. You want to realize when the zone will work against you and when it will work with you. And here's the catalyst coming out late. Last one, full squad wipe. We play these little pieces of cover that I mentioned, and this is great. Top 3 scenario. We realize they're going to start fighting down here, and it's just one guy left, but we don't know that once again. So you have to think about who do you have to fight for the best positioning. Now, I understand not every end game will go as smooth as this, but it's really all about your tactics and your awareness of where is the zone going, what are my surroundings of enemies, and what sort of space do I need to clear in order to have the best spot. All right, and on this last fight, this is one of these moments where you just get jumped. You know, you're in your head, you're looting, you're just thinking about rotating, you don't hear anyone near you, and then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. Well, that's what happens here. I queue up, and I don't see this team on my right, but they start shooting me in the back. I quickly get to the door, I bat, I instruct my teammates what just happened, I call out southeast, that's where they are. The scan's really helpful because there's one guy in the back, but if you notice my angle, guys, I am not exposed to the other two. I don't walk up to the edge of the building, I stay close to the door so I'm close to my cover, and I see this guy and have a great angle on him. Now, I see the horizon cue faintly as I turn my back. I realize they're probably going to push me. They know I'm the one they're focused on. My teammates are not being focused right now. 2 guys on my door, I call it out. I see the horizon ult, I call a Q. My teammate's there to back me up. He takes down the seer. Now the horizon is fighting my teammate here, so I quickly run out, look for her. He says she's low, and yeah, she was pretty low, so I take her out. Now the key there is trying to not get too spooked and provide presence before they want to ape you after they crack you. This re-peek out of the door without overexposing myself. Also, my teammate scanning was perfect because I didn't even have to think twice about where to look. I just knew exactly where to look. I get the knock, and then this team has to instantly panic. If they don't panic, they certainly are panicking because it's a 3v2 and they should be panicking. It's our fight now. Playing the door, stalling the fight, buying time for my teammates to get closer to me, using my ability correctly so that I don't overextend and get 2v1'd, have my teammate there to hold. And yeah, guys, it's a wrap. I know ranked this season is definitely a little troubling at times for certain players because there can be a mixture of different skills in the lobbies. However, this video is meant to serve players who just want to improve. It doesn't really matter what rank you're in, but if you apply some of these tactics to your gameplay, you will certainly improve overall. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're interested in 2 crucial mistakes that players tend to make with every legend, well, I covered it all in this video here. Thanks for watching. Peace.